Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the overall crypto market. But before we jump in, I just want to ask if you guys could smash that like button. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course I always do greatly appreciate it, and it only takes a couple seconds. But with that being said, yesterday was a hectic day. We've seen so much happen. We've seen Ethereum gas fees go to $2,000+ per transaction. We've seen the market capitulate a little bit. And then we were seeing some crazy, panic ensuing throughout the entire market, as we did see, of course, Bitcoin reach down to about 37.4K. Now, with this in mind, we've been watching Bitcoin closely, and I've told you guys that, we most likely will continue to see shakeouts until, of course, we are ready for that nice upswing. I'm going to be talking to you guys about a lot of things happening around Bitcoin right now, specifically the chart and things like that. And then, of course, we will be talking about altcoins. Right now, I foresee this market still being in a very strong pattern. We're going to be talking about that and addressing it. On the 24-hour span, we are still seeing some altcoins green, having a nice little bounce back from yesterday's overall capitulation event on the 7-day span. Of course, all of these, for the most part, are still in the red, with a few exceptions to a few altcoins. But overall, it has been a sea of red. Yesterday, I bought some altcoins. Yesterday, I actually bought Spell. This is one that I felt solid buying at about roughly, it was like 0.003 exact. I felt fairly good buying there because if we go to the all-time chart, we could see where that level was back in, of course, around the September timeframe. I'm hoping for a 10x on this. We'll see exactly where that goes, but hey, it's either a ride or a die on this one. But with this in mind, let's move on. Let's talk about a few things. So overall, extreme fear levels, yes, we are still at them. This is updating in about 2 hours and 19 minutes. Most likely we will see a little bit more fear here, but I felt fine buying yesterday because of this level, actually. I've always said you want to buy when things are looking fearful and sell when things are looking greedy. We actually haven't been in greed for a while, and I'm actually waiting until we do get back into that greed point to take my profits. Of course, a lot of people have been taking profits recently. I just don't feel the need to, just because the overall structure is still fairly strong. I do not run stop losses. I'm actually, whenever I look at a stop loss, I'm more so of a manual individual when it comes to that. A few other people are like this as well. You really have to have your emotions in check to be able to do so, but that's exactly where I am on that. But also, there has been a lot of individuals that have been a little bit more panicky and spewing some, targets in terms of Bitcoin. We do see, sorry, crypto peeps, but if buyers don't step in now and recover the monthly 20 as support, we are heading down to 26K. I've got to rip off the band-aid for y'all, poor Bitcoin and my portfolio, which honestly, we are not going to 26K. I highly doubt that we drop below the 30K mark. I've said this multiple times. There's no way, in my opinion, that we reach down to, again, 26K. And I've said this multiple times. But as we do kind of look at Bitcoin, we have been watching a lot of the overall patterns, more so really watching the asymmetry on Bitcoin, comparing it to 2013, 2014, all the way to 2017, 2018. We've been comparing and contrasting the past cycles even to now. And shout out to Tech Dev for this chart. This is actually a little bit more of an in-depth one from like around 2015's sort of sideways momentum until we got to that 2017, 2018 bull run. Same with even, 2017, or sorry, not 2017, 2021 to now. And you can see the overall chart here from the entity adjusted dormancy flow, which this is, Bitcoin in dormancy, which we've been at a fairly good level for a very long time now in terms of Bitcoin. We also do see the comparisons in terms of the chart. So we do see this major low. We see the sideways momentum on Bitcoin before we ran in 2017 and 2018 to new all-time highs. Then we do see 2019 as well. Dormancy flows at the bottom level here. And of course, what ended up happening, we ran for, overall, it was like around 2 years to 2021, but we topped out around almost the end of 2021. And then, of course, now look at the dormancy flow. We are still at that bottoming point. So in my opinion, Bitcoin looks like the bottom is in. And I've said this so many times, and a lot of people continue to say, we're in a bear market, we're in a bear market, we're in this, we're in that. Guys, I don't think people even understand exactly what a bear market is at this point because we've been hearing we're in a bear market for so long. And I think that it's just a terrible way to really kind of go about this market by individuals, continuously saying bear market on every single drop. People, if we were in a bear market, trust me, you know it. March of 2020 was extremely, and I say extremely scary. Now we go and look at the exchange net position change on all exchanges here for Bitcoin, and then we also see the exchange net position change on all exchanges as well in terms of negative and positive. Do you guys see exactly what's happening here? So the positive, the green, means that they are basically moving Bitcoin to exchanges, and then the red is Bitcoin moved away from exchanges to cold storage. Now, I've said that this is actually a very good on-chain analysis of Bitcoin and really I would say it's a good indicator on the tops and the bottoms for Bitcoin. We've been seeing a ton of accumulation for Bitcoin during the summertime. All right, this is all, well, I should say not accumulation. This was all selling, and then we've seen accumulation happening before, of course, we hit the recent all-time high. You guys can see that in the position change. Then, of course, we've seen selling during this time. In fact, we've seen selling at around the topping points. There was one specific wallet, I think it's the number 3 largest Bitcoin holder, that was selling a lot during this time, which gave us a little bit of an insight on, hey, Bitcoin is basically at its topping point, and this has been falling ever since. Now, a very similar thing is happening, comparing it back to the 2021 timeframe from January all the way to around April. We are seeing a massive amount of Bitcoin moving off of exchanges to cold storage, which tells me there's not going to be a lot more selling happening around Bitcoin. And we might be wondering, well, what is causing Bitcoin to continuously fall then? What is going on in terms of the market? Why isn't things moving in an upward path if, of course, a lot of Bitcoin is getting moved off of exchanges and not being sold? Well, that's a good question. We're going to be talking about it here shortly. First, we need to talk about some other on-chain metrics. So shout out to the Real Plan C here, but we do see here we just need a demand spark. And here we have the last active plus 1+ years ago HODL exchange balance supply shock as well. So we do see the HODL shock ratio, which this is at a massive, this is going parabolic right now. And the last time that we've seen this go parabolic was after the bear market of 2013 and 2014, which led us to 2017 and 2018's massive bull run. And by the way, you guys can actually see this drop drastically during that time because, of course, there was a lot of profit being taken off of Bitcoin. Now, of course, you also see the Bitcoin price. So as we've seen this kind of crossing, this is where Bitcoin really kind of started to top out during 2017 and 2018, and then you do see, of course, that shock increasing as, selling happened. And then, of course, during this entire time, you've seen the bottoming point at around a nice height point for, again, the HODL shock ratio. When we look at this and we kind of compare and contrast it to the past, I've always said that when you see this massive increase in terms of the HODL shock ratio, it just means that there's a lot of, Bitcoin being hodled and not being active itself. And when we kind of look at this and we kind of compare and contrast it to the past, we are at that point in time where this will most likely start to decrease as we see that massive increase in price, similar to even the 2020 to 2021 timeframe, as we were seeing this in a massive spiked position. Here's the March of 2020 low. Here's, it kind of slowing down and then increasing drastically. During this time, we've seen a massive run. And then, of course, we've seen some drops here, which this was, the bottoming point. But now there's actually, in my opinion, a lot of demand around Bitcoin. And in fact, we've been seeing a lot of demand around the institutional area. We also see here Bitcoin, including the rest of the crypto market, closed above support. Again, a lot of individuals were extremely panicking yesterday. And when we look at this and we really kind of compare and contrast it to things that were happening emotionally yesterday, there was really no reason to panic at all. I mean, this is on a macro basis, right? You see Bitcoin on the 1 month, you see the crypto market cap on the 1 month. Everything on this chart is on the 1 month. And I told you guys to zoom out and look at the macro view on the market because everyone is continuously looking at the 1 day, the 15-minute. They're, panicking because they see just red. But on the monthly, look at how massive the support zone is on Bitcoin, on the crypto market cap, on Ethereum, on, even altcoins in general. Look at the support zones being held here. I don't believe people are paying attention here. And shout out to Velvet on Twitter, 888 Velvet. I don't think people are paying attention to the bullish momentum around crypto. And a lot of people are wondering, why isn't Bitcoin moving, right? Everyone is continuously saying, why isn't Bitcoin moving? Why is the market just trading sideways when everything is bullish? Well, here you guys have it. Bitcoin price is sideways because of Wall Street is selling futures contract in a macro risk-off trade. Meanwhile, institutional money is scooping up spot Bitcoin at peak rates and moving towards, cold storage. It's times like these I remember the Q4 2020 supply shock squeeze. And honestly, if we do see that supply shock squeeze on Bitcoin, it is going to get very interesting very fast, as you guys do see the massive exchange net flows and the supply shock squeeze. I'm telling you guys, pay attention to things that are happening, because I've said in terms of March of 2020 to now, the patterns are very similar to March of 2020 currently. And you guys can also see this. I mean, it's a very similar pattern. And if we see that, it's going to get very interesting. And we do see Bitcoin price holding up well while equities tank and US dollar index moons is a testament to the unprecedented spot buying happening right now. In other words, investors already see Bitcoin as a safe haven. It will take time for price to reflect. Wait for the future sells to run out of ammo. And yes, I do believe that when we talk about, exhaustion happening in terms of sell volume, I think that we've already been seeing that throughout the entire crypto market. But we just need to see that happening in terms of equities. But first off, we definitely need to watch the dollar tomorrow. Tomorrow is the key for the dollar. And in terms of altcoins, like I said, altcoins were ranging on massive support. Here you have XRP bouncing off of that 200-day EMA perfectly, and we still see that the support ratio at around roughly 58.5 cents. I told you guys that we would most likely see either a bottoming point at around 55 cents to 62 cents, and we've seen a perfect test of that 200-day EMA at about 56 and almost a half cents. Perfect retest. Also, a few other altcoins, Q&T, came down, tested perfect support going all the way back to that candle in July at about roughly $97. Yes, we wicked a little bit below, but for the most part, I was actually looking at the support range to be tested here at about $94. But it looks pretty strong here. I know that volume is diminished greatly, but again, a lot of these sell-offs will lead to a nice move throughout the entire market. Of course, we have to look at their Bitcoin price charts to see that true momentum, but Bitcoin price charts right now are going to look fairly bearish. Same with Hbar, right? A lot of people were actually worried about Hbar. Am I worried about Hbar? No, because days before yesterday's sell-off happened, I told you guys to watch for these candles to be tested. 13.5 cents. Roughly, we wicked a little bit below it, and we actually came down to almost 13 cents exact. The next major support zone would be roughly at about 11.5 cents if we don't see a strong bounce here. On the daily, a lot of these altcoins look very, very oversold. Here you have Hbar's oversold level. I would say this is the lowest RSI level since going back as far as January of 2020. Okay? So when we look at this, I mean, this looks very oversold. It's the most oversold Hbar has been since going back on a multi-year level. So, again, do we need a lot more strength on Hbar? 100%. I would like to see us back above 15 cents for us to be back into that nice continuation up to 24 cents. But a lot of their, like a lot of these altcoins in terms of their Bitcoin price charts look like this. And also yesterday, yes, everybody was concerned about the Bitcoin price chart for Hbar. I had this blue line labeled on the 236, as you guys do see, at about 354 sats. I was waiting for that to be tested, and it looks like we had that perfect test, and I told you guys that's where we will most likely see 13.5 cents for Hbar. I warned you about this when we were at around roughly almost 20 cents, and we've seen that perfect test. On XLM, very similar price chart to XRP, where we came down and tested that, major support zone that we recently hit during roughly the February-January timeframe, which was at almost 16, almost 17 cents. I was actually waiting for this to come down a little bit lower. I was waiting for the support zone going back as far as January of 2021 to be tested at about roughly 13, almost 14 cents. That would have been a perfect buy point to really kind of buy XLM. But even at this range, it looks pretty juicy. I'm not gonna lie. We do need a lot more volume though to push a lot of these altcoins back up. But my focus right now is on Bitcoin as we do kind of range here. Bitcoin dominance has been increasing a little bit, but we've still been in the sideways momentum. But we are breaking out and reaching out a little bit, which tells me that Bitcoin could be going on a nice run here soon. And my golden ratio is still up here at about 45 to 47%. A lot of altcoins will most likely take a little bit of, I think that when we talk about altcoins are going to take the bench real quick while Bitcoin plays. And Bitcoin is going to play a fairly strong game. And then we have that wave 5 momentum come in where we will see, of course, Bitcoin kind of slow down. Bitcoin dominance take that leap of faith all the way down to roughly almost like 30% to possibly even lows of like 25%. And that's where altcoins are going to go crazy. Now, with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.